Hi everybody, this is Dale. Welcome to my channel, Not Too Shabby Chic. It has been a while. I have been away. I started a job working full-time again, and it has taken me some time to get used to it, and also working on this design team project in the middle of going back to work, and it took me a while. So I hope to get back to normal and do more videos over the weekends because I really don't have time during the week. But this beauty is my design team project for Happiness in Crafting with Chic, and I used her digital kit, Oceanic Adventures, and it has ocean themes, ships and fish and mermaids and pretty girl, this pretty lady. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful kit, and I decided to give it a go. So this is what I came up with, and this is the cover. I used a hard chipboard from a book, but the spine was no good, so I created my own spine, and it's very big, and I covered it in wallpaper. And after I covered it in wallpaper, it sort of evolved from there. So there were some people that wanted to know how I made this cover, so I'm going to try to explain it to you because it took me 3 days just because I'm so slow, and it would be like you watching paint dry. So anyway, this is the cover. That's a real sand dollar that I got in Florida, and I inked it with some green oxide, and this is some seam binding. I've used creepy cloth and some real pretty lace pieces that I had that have little pearls, and I inked over those. I put this picture in the center and sewed crazy stitching, I call it, or sloppy stitching, all around her in black, and then around the outside edge in black, and had her in the middle, and then built up this around her. So I just took the creepy cloth and the lace and kind of glued it and layered it. And then I added, this is a piece of driftwood, real piece of driftwood that I put there just for effect, and I inked or used the Tattered Angels spray that sparkles, and it's got the sparkles. I don't know if you can see it on here. I've got it too. You can see it in person. It sparkles. These seashells I got at the beach, and some I had in my stash from somewhere. This is a real it's not called a starfish, a sea fish or something to that effect, but it's got these little bumps on the front, and this is the back of one, and I got these in Florida. I didn't find them, I bought them, but they're real. So I turned this one right side up, this one upside down, because I like the back. I had these two little clam oyster shells with the big pearl in it from some old jewelry, and I just kind of layered and moved the cloth around it so it kind of had the look of seaweedy look around the starfish and stuff. And I covered the whole thing with the creepy cloth and sprayed it with the green Tattered Angels, and I don't remember what the color was. Then I made this as a topper. This is separate, this piece right here, and it's a topper that I made out of a file folder. And then so I did it separate and then glued it to the front of my journal, and it has a secret compartment that's almost too tight to put anything in. So you flip this up, and here is a tight tag, and I stamped it. I love this scripture. It's Esther 4:14. Perhaps this is the moment for which you have been created. And I love this paper. I had it from Graphics Fairy, I think, and printed it out, and then of course grunge the back. but it's a hidden journaling spot. This is a little tag from G's kit with a little mermaid on it, and that barely goes in here. So if whoever buys this, you can't really put anything else. I didn't mean to get it quite so tight. Sorry. It'll go in, but you have to kind of wiggle like that. And then this was a piece of vintage doily that I had, that I used for the little flap, and then added the creepy cloth on top of that as well. This is fringe that I used on another journal. I got off of a curtain, and I hoard it. This is only the second time I've used it. I love it, and I've got it around the back, the spine, and the front to dangle down because it reminds me of seaweed and stuff around the ocean. The spine is about 5 inches, I think. It's pretty big. Let me move, not that. Let me measure it and see for sure. It's about 4.5 inches is the spine. And all I did was take the same lace and some more creepy cloth, and I covered the whole thing, like I said, with creepy cloth and sprayed it green, and the wallpaper was green. But I put more creepy cloth and the lace on top and just dry brushed some ink. There's another, the sea fish or starfish, some seashells, a sand dollar, little seashells, and just kind of layered that there for the spine, and I just thought that looked really cute. And then the back is just plain. If I put seashells on the back, they might get crushed. So it's just the creepy cloth and the lace on the back. So that's the front and the spine. You can see from the top, it's very chunky. The sides, very chunky, as I always like them to be, but I tried to make the spine bigger so it wouldn't be gator mouthed, but it's a little better, but still is. Then I have this, my fabric's moving, this gorgeous tassel that I did, and it's removable right here. You can take that off. So I want to show this to you. Bulldog clip, and I just put some tulle there, and I've got these little glass vials. This one has white and teal and a little bit of gold glitter. This is real sand from the beach, and I put a little bit of sparkle glitter in there with it. And then here is a fish, like a zebra fish, and here's a little gold starfish. So that hangs down on the tassel, like so. And I also hung the ink pen. I got this from Amore Fabrics. I call her Fabrics. And I have, if I can dig it out, this little charm. So you can have your pen right there with you. It's just on a bulb pen, so you can take it off if you want and not have it on there. And I used, you know, torn fabrics, eyelash trim, laces, all different kinds of things. A lot of this I used in the journal, some I didn't, but the colors all went. And it just kind of grew, and it's super fluffy, super big, but I love, love, love my tassel. Turned out really cute, and I like the little sand thing. And this reminds me of God, because the Bible talks about the thoughts he has toward us outnumber the sands on the seashores, the granules of sand on the seashores. Just it's amazing to me that he has that many thoughts about me, and he has them about you. So I always think of him when I think of sand. And so anyway, there's that. Now this is going to take a minute, so I'm going to I always say this, try to go fast, but I never can. This is just seam binding that I inked up a little. So it is bound with that. It's like 3 strands. And that. Then we go inside, and I'm going to try to make it where you can see it. Let me zoom out. All right. So on the first page, I used a vintage tatting. This was a little baby bonnet. It's really old, and I cut the baby bonnet up finally and made a pocket out of it. I gave you whoever gets this is a starfish. I don't know if it's real or not. I kind of don't think that it is. But I got them at Dollar Tree, I think, and I just think it's cool. So I put that there. Oh, the little starfish that aren't starfish on the front, they're called sea stars, and there's a card with it. And I just stitched around it and put a pocket here that I folded, and one of G's tags. Sorry, you can't see it for the glare. There's a fish, and I put a vintage button on the front of it, and it's blank on the back. And then this also, it's a little tag. I put a little piece of vintage doily, and it's got the puffer fish on it. Isn't he cute? So those go in there, and it's a beautiful poem about the legend of the sea star. Brilliant stars of the heavens were placed into the sea when God blessed ocean creatures with their own astrology. As we gaze into the waters, his wondrous plans unfold. The starfish sings his song of praise while spun in noble gold. The Lord created sea creatures and waters wherein they swim. Man and fish on earth and in sea owe their very lives to him. And I love that, so I've included that here. And then you also have this beautiful tag from G's kit, and it's a little puffer fish with the coral and the seashells. And then I just sewed some eyelash trim, made it look, because it just reminds me of seaweed and stuff, and it's got black and the green, yellows and gold. Black, I said that, didn't I? And then I put on the back, this book belongs to, so you can write your name there. This is another gorgeous tag. It's a sailboat and beautiful watermark designs, and I of course stitched around that. And then this is a beautiful vintage postcard of the ocean. Isn't that gorgeous? And this was an oil canvas painting by Thomas Moran, and it was printed in 1999, but it's an actual postcard. And then this is some paper that I just inked and did different colors. You can see the wallpaper here, but I glued that on there because I just liked it to look green and raggedy. And so, oops. Those all go here. And your starfish. And this page has the mermaid. That says the mermaid, and that's the girl on the front. And she's got coral and beautiful things all around. This is off of a piece of sari material I got from Dust Fairies. This is from the kit. It's a mermaid, and it was a part of a card, I think, but I just tore it because I wanted it to be a tuck spot. You have this beautiful journaling card, a conch shell, and these seashells, and I added the eyelash trim there. Then we have this page for journaling. She's got like watermark designs, and I'm going to add a writing board because it's bumpy and it's big if you should want to write in it, so that you can. This was an earring. It's a starfish, and these are some real seashells, and the starfish earrings are so cute. Isn't that pretty? And then I did the creepy cloth. This is just some plain coffee dyed paper that I had, and I just did some bubble stencils. This is a seahorse sticker I got at Dollar Tree, and this is a piece of a snippet I got from MJ Ray's, my buddy. Here's some more creepy cloth. This seahorse is from the kit. I fussy cut it out and glued him there, and just, you know, journaling spot. All the pages have been stitched. This is 4 signatures, and it's a 5-hole pamphlet stitch also. I just feel like those hold the paper better. This is a song, and it is No Man is an Island, and I thought that was very apropos for this journal because it's about oceans and stuff. These are from the kit. See the little tiny fish and that little circle? And I just layered that over this pocket that's in the kit and made a tuck spot and added more of these little tiny tags from G's kit with some eyelash trim on a couple of them. And then this says the Mermaid Cave, and I made that. It's a little tuck spot, which is so cute. And in here we have a pufferfish tag. Most everything in here is from a kit. There's just a few things that aren't. Isn't that pretty? It's an absolutely gorgeous kit. There's that. And then we turn the page. And the other side of this music is a little piece of bling there with a vintage doily behind. This is a vintage doily layered with 2 other vintage doilies. And this was an earring. And it reminded me of the ocean, the way the earring swirls were. So I thought that was cool. This is a piece of vellum, and I stenciled on the vellum. This is one of my fabric clusters with a pretty button, and I added some seam binding and eyelash trim hanging down, so I thought it was pretty. And this is from Dust Fairies. Here's the song, No Man is an Island. And I just like that because it goes with this. Islands are out in the ocean. This is some trim that I got from, I don't remember. Somebody sent me this in Happy Mail, and thank you very much, whoever you are. I've forgotten. Then on the back side of this, we have, this is some more fabric, boho fabric, if you will, from Dust Fairies. This is a little tiny circle. It says Mermaid, excuse me, from the kit. Then we have this pretty tag that's got the starfish and a menu and a squid. Just beautiful the way she layered all these. And there's the mermaid, and she's wrestling there with a sea monster, and I did the eyelash trim on that. And this is about the song, No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as if a promontory were, as well as if a manor of thy friends or of thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never sin to know for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. Well, isn't that cool? I did not know that. That's by John Donne Devotions. That's cool. And then I put these little, this pearl looking trim I got from Dollar Tree. So these go here. And this is some rice paper that I got off of Amazon. It's got some plants in there. And this is from the Hopeful Bird. It says bravely, bravely. So I just like the message, and that's muslin. Then this, hope is an anchor. And I used anchor themed things throughout too, because hope is our anchor. You know, God is our anchor. Just think of Him when I think of an anchor, and hope is an anchor is a saying a lot of people are familiar with. And this button is a vintage button, and it has, you can't tell, but it's got a little anchor on it. And this page is really pretty. It has the seahorse and the shell and the menu like the little card did, but I used stickles to outline the seahorse. You can see it sparkle. And then this trim is from Dust Fairies. This is a vintage doily and an anchor button. It's another cute page from the kit. My fabric's going everywhere. And I used this, cut out a piece of a card and tore it to be a tuck spot, and put these little tags from the kit. They were so cute. G's got all these little different fish, and eel, and different kinds of fish, and little tags that you could journal on, and just tuck them in there. And then I did some stenciling. And this is some coffee dyed paper that I stenciled on. This says Discover, which is from the Dollar Tree. And this is not a tuck. I started to make it a tuck, but it's a tab for the page, and it's just for looks. And this side is the seashell, and these circles are from the kit. They're beautiful. Also, the pages from the kit, and I did some stenciling. This is from the Hopeful Bird. It says grab a hold of the anchor and hang on. And that's an anchor button. The vintage doily connector there. Here's another pretty page. This is the center of the first signature, and I just did vintage doily pieces, inked them, and put some vintage buttons on each side for the center. This beautiful page from the kit, Oyster and Chop House, and I did this for part of the paper tag. I fussy cut this out and put it on the creepy cloth. This is a cute pocket that G has, and it's got the sides where it will hold more. And these are some tags, journal cards from the kit. Are they pretty? I'm hoping you can see okay. My lighting, I got a new light and I haven't had time to get someone to install it for me. But it's like a ring light. And in the middle, this is another page, and I put stickles so you can kind of see the sparkles. And I've got it on top of the ocean cap, and there's two mermaids. It says the Mermaid's Cave, and this is a vintage doily, as is a small one, and there's a little circle of the pufferfish. And on this side, I've got a safety pin with this little porpoise or dolphin, whichever it is. Isn't it cute? I fussy cut this. It's a little cutout that I fussy cut out, and I just took a plain piece of paper and made a corner and did the eyelash trim and a vintage button. And you can journal here. This is from 1904 is the copyright date, so very, very old. And they were for these viewers that made it look 3D. You might can find a viewer. I don't have one, but I've got a lot of these cards, and I just found one that I thought went well. It's called The Happy Family in Mammoth Birdcage. But it looks like pelicans to me, and I think of ocean or beach when I think of pelicans and that, so I put that there. So this is super old and in good shape. Viewer card, I guess it's called. And this is one of G's tags. It's got the man standing on the cliff and the little boat here, and I just put a whale tag stitched. There's that. This page is just plain coffee paper, dyed paper that I, of course, inked and stenciled. This is a vintage pillowcase, and this is from the kit, and it's the man standing on the cliff that's on this tag. And then this is a ship in the ocean circle that is in the kit, and journaling spot. This is a cute pocket from the kit that's the seashells, and I put a little vintage doily connector and a vintage button. And you have these cards. I love this little turtle, adorable. And here's a fish with the coral and stitched around, and those go in here. And then this other piece is from the Hopeful Bird. Jesus will point your heart at what matters most. And yes, he will. And the water and the ocean always reminds me of him and his creation. And then this is from the kit. It's got the little seahorse and the seashell, and I used it as part of the tab. And this is a piece of duck cloth, I think it's called, and that's a vintage button. On this side I put a piece of a vintage doily and another vintage button. All the buttons are vintage and all the doilies are vintage. This is another beautiful page. It's got the squid and some type of seashell or coral. That's from the kit, the hammerhead fish or shark, and I made it a little tuck spot and have these little journal cards, the lobster, some whales, and some stingrays, and of course they're blank on the back for journaling. Just tuck those there. This page is the I made a pocket out of this fabric I got from Dust Fairies, and I put a little piece on top. I just think that is so pretty. And this was some upholstery fabric that I covered that page in. And in this pocket we have this pretty mermaid tag that I sprayed Tattered Angels on, so it's kind of sparkly. And then there's a piece of cloth from Dust Fairies, and then I did the eyelash trim there. This is from the kit, and it's the squid like you see here with that on that side, but the other side has the seahorse and the menu. Some of these tags you'll see more than once because I just use them, as you can use lots of journaling spaces. And this is a card of seashells, which are very pretty, blank on the back, so there's that. And then on this side, this is from Dust Fairies. Isn't that gorgeous? And this is one of my clusters with a vintage button, and then I had some of this black trim that I used throughout here and there. This is not vintage. And this is just some rice cloth, mulberry paper, and this is one of the cards with the steering wheel for the boat, but I know that's what you call is not what you call it. There's a beautiful tag with a sailboat, and I put some black lace on it. And here's that mermaid again. It says the mermaid, and I've got the seaweedy eyelash trim there. Let's go here. Of course, you can rearrange and do it however you want, if anybody buys it. I made, if it doesn't sell, I'm very happy to keep this one. It's like one of the favorites I've done. This is a beautiful scene of the sailboats in the background, and you can journal on it. And I just added some trim and eyelash trim there, stitched it on. Here's a vintage fabric button, and then this is just some eyelash trim and some vintage fabric and some cloth, paper, kind of stitched together. Sorry, this cloth is getting on my last nerve, and now I've lost my place. There we go. This is the other side of that vellum paper where I stenciled. This globe circle is from the kit. I did both on the same side on that one for a tab. This is the other side of No Man is an Island. I fussy cut this little piece of coral to make a tuck spot. And we have the seashell card again, and we have this pretty journaling card, a nautical looking card, and a little tiny seashell card. so many pretty elements in this kit. And there's a doily, vintage doily. On this side, this is a pocket from the kit. And that's the other side of the paper, vintage button and trim. So we have this pretty card that's got the mermaid on the right and then the other fish and stuff on the left, and I added the eyelash trim. It's hard to do that one-handed. This is another card from the kit. Isn't that gorgeous? And they're all blank on the back if I'm not showing you the back. And I left strings hanging and stuff because I like this. Was in my stash. It was from one of mine. And then that's just some eyelash trim. Seam binding. This is a claim check, vintage claim check, and I sewed one of her little cards, the pufferfish, at the top for a little tab, journaling spot. Then this is a journaling spot. This is from Dust Fairies. This is from the kit. It's a little pocket, and then I did the creepy cloth, and this was a charm off of a bracelet, I believe, and it's a sand dollar, if you can tell, and two little starfish. And we have more of the fish tags, the different kinds of fish. And this is a pretty nautical looking, it's like a globe, and then there's another sailboat. These are all so cute. There's just so much you could do, and it's just why my book got so big, because I wanted to use every single piece, and I did, and used some twice. On this side we have some creepy cloth, a piece of some type of trim, I don't know what it's called. This is a vintage doily, a vintage button, and one of the tags from the kit, a little tiny one that I just kind of glued there. I fussy cut this out of one of the cards and added a piece of vintage paper, somebody diving there with it. And you have a cool whale and the mermaid, and it's got the eyelash trim. So that just tucks in there like so. This side you have the pretty mermaid as a tab, and you can journal here. I love the pufferfish. That's a beautiful, these pages are so pretty it's hard to put anything on them. So I did the circles that G has in the kit are so cool. And then between the signatures, I never liked that gap. So what I did was I took some this tulle that's got little gold sparkles all through it, and I put it down between the signatures and glued little vintage buttons down the center, and it just reminds me of sand, kind of. So that's what I did between each signature. This page I have a piece of vintage fabric with some tattered angels, fabric cluster with a button. This is a Tim Holtz die cut, and there's a ship sticker I got from Dollar Tree. And then you have lots of pretty tags from the kit. Most of them I sewed. There are a few that I didn't. The crab, there's the man. This is not from the kit. I got this from somebody in Happy Mail, and I loved it. I made that into an actual, it's shaped like a tag in the kit. It's kind of got a little pointy thing on top, and I just sewed some fabric there. I already showed you that. And there's an octopus, stingrays. Oh, I glued down my seashell. There he goes. Conch shell. The little fish. Here's a little circle, the compass, and another little puffer fish. So all those can just get stuck wherever you want to stick them, or wherever I want to stick them right now. So we'll be putting those in. Don't put that one There. There. Here. There. Cute. This is a sticker from Dollar Tree. It says Explore and a journaling spot. This is a vintage linen doily with crochet trim and crochet in the middle. This is the song again, No Man is an Island. You can see it there. And I also inked around every single page with 2 or 3 shades of ink till I could get the right color. I used peacock oxide and coffee and broken china. So there, and this was from Dust Fairies, and this is tropical, and you've got the palm trees. No Man is an Island, and I think of these growing on an island. And then this little charm is palm trees. So how cool is that? And I did some black lace at the end of the page. And then on this side, this is some vintage trim that I got. This is a tuck spot, and this fell out. This is an envelope from the kit that is so cute, and I put one of her little circles to hold the flap closed. And inside, I just threw together a little wonky journaling book. It says Make Room for Wonder, and then this says An Anchor. I like the anchor theme. So it's got periodically like your becoming is beautiful, just messages of encouragement. I stuck one of these in. You are a glorious work in progress, from the Hopeful Bird. So this is a little something for encouragement. Write your thoughts. You are enough, 1,000 million times enough. Sorry, my dog likes to bark when I'm filming. Sift through the grit to find your hope. Very cool. And these pages are from Creating with Jovi, the gold sparkle coffee dye paper she does. It's so pretty. And there's one of the tags on the back, and it just goes in the envelope. It's a tight squeeze, and then that holds it closed, and it's supposed to stay in there. This is a really cool piece of I don't know if it's rice paper. It feels like some kind of fabric paper. I've got several pieces throughout, and I stenciled on it, one of my clusters there. This is a paper sack, and I used a piece off of a dress for this. And in the sack we have, this is a vintage Patagonia, and it's got the flamingo and the little kid with, so it just looked tropical to me, so it kind of goes with ocean themes. And it was Patagonia. Patagonians are all born Nimrods, but it's talking about coffee or whatever. I was going to put coffee dyed paper on the back so you could journal on the back, but I left this so you could read about it, and if you want to put something on the back you can, but that's very old. And then I have from the kit, beautiful envelope, the mermaid, and I sloppy stitched all around. You can see the back, and you open this up, and I have a vintage postcard. Isn't that gorgeous? And that's an ocean scene. Shore Wash, Pawleys Island, South Carolina. It's a watercolor, that originally a watercolor. It doesn't have the year that it was made, but it's really pretty. And somebody wrote Louise something on there, so it's a vintage postcard. And then this beautiful tag is the man on the cliff again, and I just have those stuck in here, and they go, well, I guess one of them may not have been in there, but you could put others, there's room to put other things in here. There's a piece of mulberry paper. On this side, I just did a piece of trim there. This is a piece of ledger paper that I put in. This is from Dust Fairies. This is a vintage doily piece. Journaling, more journaling space. This is a journaling spot from the kit. It's beautiful pages that look like water in the ocean. This is the circles that she did. They're so cool. I like using them for tabs. There's a ship on the back. And then this page is really pretty with the mermaid and the big bell. I fussy cut, or tore this, not fussy cut. And it's the ship with some seashells. And I just made it a tuck spot for the crab, a circle, and the globe. And if you have oceanic things, you can always add them to it. The center of this signature, I got, these are vintage, and I just inked and stained them to green and brownish, just to me look like they've been in the ocean. Kind of like starfish or something. And here's a cluster with some tulle that I did, and this is another beautiful page. And I did leave quite a few pages for journaling, which I don't usually do. This is a vintage ticket. Fish, sail, and swim on the Gulf at Biloxi this summer. I had gotten these from More Fabrics. And I put two together for the page tab. Some more mulberry paper. This is the other side of the sack. This is a vintage doily and an anchor button. That's a vintage button. I don't know if you can see that it's an anchor, yeah. And in here I just stuck some little tickets. We have to have tickets. So maybe at the ocean there's a carnival and you can use them to ride some rides. Here's some more beautiful journal cards. This one is one of my favorites with the pufferfish and the mermaid. And I did the seaweed eyelash trim. I started to fold it in half and make a little tiny book. And you could still do that, which would be really cute. But my journal was getting too fluffy. Just some more of that pretty fabric paper, whatever it's called. Another one of my clusters. This is some more of that vintage pillowcase. This is another vintage postcard that is like ocean and seagulls, and I don't know where all that is, but it's really pretty. And this has someone's address written on it. It was never got mailed, but it looks like this is for Save Mono Lake campaign. The shores of Mono Lake, an ancient inland sea east of Yosemite National Park. That's what that is. It's gorgeous. It doesn't look like anything in the United States, so it's really, really pretty. And I just folded this page over from No Man is an Island. It's ringing in my heart, which is what the ocean kind of does. No man stands alone. So there you go. And I put just a little piece of fabric from Dust Fairies there. I cut off some more of that trim. This is some snippet from MJ that I got in Happy Mail. This is the other side of that vintage linen and crochet doily. Journaling spot, vintage doilies, and a beautiful vintage button there. This is an altered paper clip that I got from Sherry Schmear, and it is gorgeous. I've been hoarding it and decided I would use it. It's got the pretty dangles, and it's holding this this postcard. I love this postcard with those birds and their blue feet. So I just had to, it's a National Geographic card, but I just think they're so cute. And then you have this beautiful page you can journal on, but that is just clipped right here in the journal. It's not quite as cumbersome to look at it yourself as it is, oh, that's backwards, me trying to do it in a way I can show it on the camera. But I know it's chunky. And then here's the center of the next between the neck signatures, and you can see it's a heart, vintage buttons, and I used gold sparkle tool here, again reminding me of sand. And this is a beautiful page, the mermaid page, and the mermaid tab. And there's a ship journaling page. It does not want to sit right. A piece of green mulberry paper with like straw all in it. This is a journaling spot, and I just ruffled up some black sequin lace and sewed some eyelash trim there. Journaling, and I stenciled all this too. This is a piece of paper I dyed, coffee dyed, or either I did it with the wine and then I inked it. And this is one of the pretty circles from G's Kit. There, yeah, this was the wine dyed ledger paper, and I have this in my shop. This is really pretty. This I had in my stash. I don't really know where I got it, but it matched, and I've got made it into a pocket, and it's got some charms like a starfish, an anchor button. This is a button, vintage button. It's got a fish on it. I used alcohol ink to dye this safety pin, and hanging from the safety pin is 2 starfish, and this seashell is on the safety pin, and I did some creepy claw. And this tab says "Fear Not," and this is again from that No Man is an Island. This was from my stash with some wired ribbon for journaling. The man on the cliff again. I really liked him. Put him in a lot of places. So there. This I fussy cut out and stuck there for the back side of this because it's kind of flimsy. This was in my stash. I think it's probably like a Tim Holtz, but it's a cruise ship, and it's a ticket for the stateroom. So you've got that. I did some stenciling there. This is vintage doily and an anchor button. Cluster, and this is from Dust Fairies. I love that it's a little fabric flip, and you could journal under here. And this is a paper sack, and I have this tag that I made, just a collage tag, kind of a Franken tag. I just stitched all around. This is a pocket from the kit. This is from the kit. This is not the paper I had, and that's from Hopeful Bird. But we have some more of the cute little fish tags. There's a swordfish, I think. There's that globe again. And from Hopeful Bird, set your gaze on the cup of hope, the light of the world, the morning star. I love that. Lots of encouragement in here. And I love that tag. And then on the back, you can see where I sewed through, and I've got a piece of coffee dyed masking paper, so you could journal on the back. So that goes in this sack. It will go in the sack, one way or the other. Oh, good grief. I'll put it in a minute. Here's some more of that pretty trim I told you I got from somebody, a vintage doily, a piece there. Here's a piece of that pretty fabric cloth and a cluster. Stenciled there. This is just plain paper from the kit, and I did some burlap ribbon. That's this beautiful aqua color. I made it into a ruffle. Beautiful from the kit. The conch shell with the coral all in the water. In the center of this I have the pieces of doily with the vintage buttons. Here's my friend the puffer fish. He's so cute. And I did a piece of vintage doily and some tulle. Journaling spot and page there. Isn't that pretty? That cloth paper. Here's the circle with the mermaid from the kit. And the man on the cliff. The other side of the bag. And this is from Dust Fairies. And this was coffee dyed tag from my stash. These were just some cut-offs out of a paper pack. Some little tickets she can write on. And this is from the kit, a little periscope. And the man on the cliff. And it says hope. To me, he's looking out over the water and he's hoping. Maybe he's stranded and he's hoping this ship back here in the distance is coming to get him. And then that's vintage doily and a vintage anchor button. All of them are vintage, but this one really looks it more so than some of the others do. And that goes there. And this is from Dust Fairies, and I just loved it, so I just stuck it on there. Here's some Dust Fairies trim on just coffee dyed paper I stenciled. Cluster, and I made a pocket here. The secret ingredient is always love. It's just a little journaling tag. This is from the kit, that beautiful mermaid woman or girl, sea goddess. She's so pretty. And 2 periscopes, journaling tag, card. I keep calling them tags from the kit. And then there's some more of that fabric that I made the pocket out of. That I did a floppy fabric floppy, whatever. This was something in my stash that I used for a tab, some mulberry paper. This has the lobster. Isn't that gorgeous? These pages just will make you drool. This I just coffee dyed, and this is a vintage button with a star on it. And I love that fish too. Isn't he cute? So there he is. And this is from Dust Fairies. And this is the center of these two, or the end of this, beginning of this, and this one has vintage buttons and a few charms. There's a fish, a turtle, and a fish, and then the charms, and it's got the gold sparkly tulle. This is a beautiful page from the kit with some vintage doilies and an anchor button. This is just a black tag that I had, and I stenciled on it and put some tulle, used it for a paper tab. Journaling space. This is a glassine little skinny bag I got in Happy Mail, and I put some cheesecloth with a couple of little tiny seashells. This came out of I can't remember, but it's got a ship on it, and it's talking about sailing around the world, so I thought that was cute. And then I've got 2 tags in here. There's a vintage piece of doily with a little whale. And this was just in my stash, and it's got sari silk, raw silk tied. This side, I've got the eyelash trim, some vintage lace, and here's the puffer fish, my buddy, is a tuck spot, and then I've got a circle tag, and this was coffee dyed tag in my stash. This lighthouse was a plastic sort of placemat, and I fussy cut the lighthouse out because I thought I have to have a lighthouse and a journal about ships and oceans and stuff, so I put that there. Here's a beautiful pocket from the kit, or no, it's a card, but I used it as a pocket. It's the steering wheel, but I know that's not what it's called. And I made a tag. From these tags I have a tag booklet, and this is eyelash trim, and I just kind of stitched all over. And when you open it, there's just a couple little, backwards. They're from the Hopeful Bird, bravely shine your unique light. And you are a warrior of light and love. So I thought that was cute. and encouraging, and I wanted to include that. And then I put him at the top. He's another cool fish, polka dot fish, and I put a black ruffle on top. He just is there for looks. And this is a sack, and inside you have my puffer fish friend with the eyelash trim. It goes there. I think that's the only thing I've gotten that one. And on this side, I glued a tag from the kit. It's got the sailboat, and I put the ruffle there and on the side. This is from Dust Fairies, and I just made it a tab with the eyelash trim and let some hang down. And I made this part of it tuck. And of course this page is from the kit. And you've got the little cool fish, some interesting fish, the hammerheads. So that just tucks back in here. Of course, on camera, it's not going to tuck right. There we go. That's from Dust Fairies, and that's just a stencil. Beautiful. I just love this. The mermaid, and I kind of tore her out to make a tab, but I also made it a tuck spot. So in that, I had a black circle tag. I got it at Michael's or somewhere, and it's got the seam binding. I put some music paper and a piece of vintage lace there, and then I put two of the tags from the kit that has a vintage doily and button, and that one's like the compass. It just fit down in there. Isn't that cute? I like that. And then it has the eyelash trim. This is from Dust Fairies, and so is this. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And I made this tag as a collage piece of lots of different, 3 different cards from the kit, and I used the circle as the tab from the kit, and I put pieces of vintage doily and some music, and it says all the joys of earth and sea and air. So I thought that went well. And down here it's a something about the captain and nautical, so it's something about the ocean and ships. This is a beautiful tag with a card with a mermaid, and I put the eyelash trim on it. There's that. Beautiful. Again, look at that page. Dust Fairies fabric. Stenciled on this page. This is an altered paper clip that I made with the tags from her kit. The mermaid on one side, the fish on the other, and I did the eyelash trim and one of these Tim Holtz paper clips. And it holds this envelope, the man on the cliff, and on the back I did the stamp seal. It's a heart to hold the flap closed, and it's just got some paper to journal on. That's all that's in there. A little hidden journaling spot is there, and that just slides right there. Then on this side we have, and underneath you can journal. This is kind of a stiff card. This is another postcard, and it's I don't know what kind of bird that is, but he looked like kind of an ocean bird to me, so I put him in here. And another piece of, this is the linen doily with the crochet trim that I made the center of this signature, and I did the same little pieces with the buttons. This I love. This is a real piece of fishnet, that I put for a pocket. I wanted to put it on the cover and what have you, but I couldn't get it to go right. It didn't go with this look, so I just used it here. And here are a couple seashells with a creepy cloth and one here. And I made this tag from that paper that I had, and it says hope anchors the soul, and then I've got an anchor charm and that anchor button. Those were from the Hopeful Bird, and you can journal on the back. Almost looks like the state of Florida, doesn't it? Huh, I didn't notice that. So that there, and then this is another piece of that tropical looking fabric, the different color from Dust Fairies, with a piece of sari silk for the tab. And you can journal on the back because I backed it with coffee dyed paper. And this is the steering wheel again, which you can journal on. I just love that. I think that's so cool. Cool. This side is a pocket from the kit, super cool with a little fish. And here's a couple seashells, a vintage button on the creepy cloth. And we have my puffer fish friend card and the mermaid card for journaling space. And this is some more of that vintage pillowcase, and this is a piece of sari silk, and this was something from the kit that I fussy cut out and used it for a tuck spot over on this writing page. And you have Mr. Crab and this tag that I added, the whatever that is, and whale tag, and they just tuck right there like that. And there's room, to journal on that. We're getting there, guys, I promise. And this is gorgeous to journal on or not. You could even use it for a beach vacation journal when you come back, and you could glue some of your pictures throughout and put them in some of the tuck spots and write little notes. It's such a pretty, it turned out really pretty. I'm really happy with it, and I love this kit. All of G's kits are gorgeous. This, I tore just a piece of paper and inked it up, and I fussy cut this out and glued it down to make a pocket. And here's the man on the cliff, and here's the double periscopes, and here's my puffer fish and mermaid tab card with the eyelash trim on this fabric-y paper that I'm not sure what it's called. This is from Dust Fairies, and this is a pocket. And we have the mermaid cave with the eyelash trim, and then this is a pretty tag with or card with the fish, and I did the eyelash trim on that too. I fussy cut her out of one of the cards to make a tuck spot and stenciled here, and that's a piece of that fabric for a tab. This is a little mini journal like I told you could do with that other card, but I did it with this one. And so there's the mermaids, and on the back side is the other half of it with the things. And this is some paper from Jovi, that's the coffee dyed gold sparkle paper. Isn't that pretty? So you just have journaling spots, and that just tucks right there. Piece from Dust Fairies stencil. This is from the kit, and this is piece of paper I cut out, and then I fussy cut this out from one of the cards in the kit and stuck it down and did the eyelash trim. And we have the double periscope card and the ship card, and I sewed some sari silk fabric to the top for a tab on the tag. And then this is from the same sari silk that I got from Dust Fairies. This is a piece of the lace that's on the front side and back of the journal. And this is the little tiny circle puffer fish with the vintage doily piece, and this little charm is a sea turtle with a bulb pin. Then you have the fish with the coral, and I did the bubble stuff, and you could write there. This is the other side of that envelope I saw somewhere. Did I forget to take it out? Anyway, this is a vintage piece about diving. You see people diving there. I just kind of did a little collage, and there's my little sweet sea turtle friend. And there's a seahorse and a flying fish and the swordfish. Excuse me. That all goes there. And on this side, I did the seal, gold seal that I made with the leaves and some gold tulle. This is a plain page, and I fussy cut out the fish with the coral and glued that down, and did some fussy cutting here to stick those there. This is Sorry Silk from Dust Fairies, as is this applique. And then these are some more pretty tags. The mermaid, and that's, you can journal on that page. That's a ship with the seashells, and you see the whatever that stuff is I glued on. And this is the legend of the sand dollar, and it tells you about the sand dollar. It talks about if you look at it real closely, you'll find an image of 4 nails and then another from a Roman's sharpened spear. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the spear. One side shows the Easter lily with its center as a star that shined brightly for the shepherds as they traveled from afar. But anyway, I love that, so I included that. And last but not least, we have this pretty page, and that's from Dust Fairies, and I just left that all wonky in the vintage button with some tags tucked. There's Mr. Crab and the nautical like map of the world, and those just tuck up in there. And this was a vintage sheet from a piece of music from 1887. I just inked it up and glued it down and put another piece of that driftwood right here to kind of go over that hole, and I just didn't want to put anything else on there. So that, my friends, is the whole thing. Thank you for your patience, and if you stuck through to the end, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you are interested, you can message me and let me know. Otherwise, I will go ahead and list it in my Etsy shop this weekend, and we'll see what happens. But I don't really care if it sells, but if it does, you can let me know beforehand, or it'll be in my Etsy store with this gorgeous tassel. I love you guys. I missed you. I hope you missed me, and I will get going on some other things. Talk to you soon. Know you're loved, and I love you too. Bye.